I recently heard a story about the Seattle Temple while it was being built. There's a truck driver who was given the responsibility of driving the Angel Moroni statue from the manufacturer to the temple site. And he was given one very specific instruction, that he was to stay on the main highways and roads and not to follow them. The truck driver, however, had other plans, and he wanted to show his town how important he was and to show them the Angel Moroni statue. So he decided to ignore that counsel and go off of the main roads. And now those of you who have been to Western Washington know that there are a lot of trees. And so as he was driving out of the town, he one of the branches from the tree came down and broke off the trumpet of the Angel Moroni statue. I've heard this story told a lot to primary children and young men and young women to teach them the principle of obedience. But I think that it teaches us to value temples and teaches us the importance of temples. I've always really loved going to the temple and enjoyed feeling the spirit there. Recently, this has helped me to research temples more deeply, and I've read a few books and general conference talks on temples. I've learned three main things about temples: the importance of temples, the temples throughout the world, and the time and materials that goes into making a temple. And these are the three main ideas that I'd like to share with you today. As members of the church, I think that we all realize that temples are important, but I hope to increase your love and understanding of temples and increase your understanding of the sacrifice that goes into making them. The Lord has always commanded us to build temples, starting out in the Old Testament. In Exodus chapter 25, verse 6, it says, verse 8, "And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them." And this is a commandment given to Moses to build the tabernacle, so that the Lord could come and dwell among the Israelites. And we're also given this commandment today to build temples. And this started back with Prophet Joseph Smith. And in Doctrine and Covenants, section 109, verses 8 and 12, it says, "Organize yourselves, prepare every needful thing, and establish a house, even a house of prayer, a house of fasting, a house of faith, a house of learning, a house of glory, a house of order, and a house of God. That thy glory may rest down upon this thy people, and upon this thy house, which we now dedicate to thee, that it may be sanctified and consecrated to be holy, that thy holy presence may be continually in this house." That's exactly why the Lord commanded us to build temples, so that he could come and dwell among us and give us further direction. Because of the sacredness of temples, the Lord wants the very best materials to be used. I read this book about all the different temples and the materials that go into making them. But two that I wanted to talk about that are special to me are the Columbia River Washington Temple, which is the temple in my hometown, and the Rexburg, Idaho Temple. In the Columbia River Washington Temple, there are art glass windows that came from Germany, cherry woodwork, hand-painted murals, a chandelier from Czechoslovakia, and hand-tufted rugs from Thailand. The outside is made of Bethel white granite from Vermont and Italy. In the Rexburg Temple, it has 700 art glass window panes, and the interior is finished with wood imported from Africa and stone and tile from Israel. These are just two examples of all the beautiful temples that are throughout the world, and they're large and small, but they all give us the same lessons. So there are 139 operating temples in the world today, with 2 under renovation, 12 under construction, and 16 announced. And they just announced 2 more at this last general conference last month, of Peru and Tucson, Arizona. Before President Hinckley became president of the church, there were only 46 temples. He is known as the prophet that kind of got temple work really rolling and accelerated. In his talk in 1998, announcing the building of smaller temples, he said this: "I have been with many who have very little of this world's goods, but they have in their hearts a love of the gospel, a great burning of faith concerning this lively work. They love the church, they love the gospel, they love the Lord and want to do His will. They are paying their tithing, modest as it is. They make tremendous sacrifices to visit the temples. They travel for days at a time in cheap buses and old boats. They save their money and do without to make it all possible. They need nearby temples, small, beautiful, serviceable temples. Now, after President Hinckley has passed away and President Monson has become the president of the church, he hasn't slowed down at all. He's continuing to build temples. In a talk by Brother Thomas E. Coburn given here at BYU Idaho in a devotional last year, he said, "Since President Thomas S. Monson became president of the church on February 3rd, 2008, I have been blessed to attend temple dedications and rededications with him or his counselors around the world. I can assure you, brothers and sisters, that temple work and construction has not slowed down one bit under President Hinckley, and he has moved this work one bit under President Monson. He has taken up the baton passed to him by President Hinckley and has moved this work forward in a truly remarkable way. I know that the Lord has prepared him his entire life for this time. We are all witnesses and participants in history in the making." One last story that I want to share about a temple that shows the importance of them is about the Las Vegas, Nevada temple. In 1989, there was a 7.1 earthquake in the Bay Area of California. And this might not seem related to the Las Vegas temple, but the celestial room window that was going to be placed in the Las Vegas temple had just been finished and was in a glass factory in the Bay Area. After the earthquake, almost all of the glass projects were ruined and shattered by the quake, but the celestial room window remained intact and had no damage. It was able to be taken to the Las Vegas and installed in the temple in time for the open house and dedication. In conclusion, I know that it's a great blessing to have temples in our lives. Temples are truly a little piece of heaven on earth. The Lord requires great sacrifice to construct these magnificent buildings, but gives great blessings in return. There are currently 139 operating temples on the earth, and there will be only more to come. The future truly is bright. Let us all strive to attend the temple more often and be active participants in this great work.